Am I the a-hole for not opening the door to my sister's kids? I'm 23, female, and the third born in our 4-kid family. Me, along with my younger brother by 1 year, are child-free as we're not exactly a big fan of kids and get annoyed by them easily. My sister has 2 kids, 5 female and 3 male. They're alright, but their constant screaming and crying gets on my nerves. They're also very spoiled and don't like the word no. I have said many times that I'm not good with kids. I don't really want to look after any as I get annoyed by them easily, but I just got shrugged off. My sister found that trend on TikTok, where parents leave their kids outside of a family member's house, knock on the door and get in the car and only leave when the door opens and leaving the kids there. She finds it funny while I don't. I think it's inconsiderate and also dangerous. My sister laughed at me and said, "Maybe I'll do this on you." I told her not to because I won't answer the door even if I was inside. She told me that she'll just leave the kids there and I'll be forced to look after them. I said that I still wouldn't open the door and would call the police on her. She just laughed it off. I had a weekend off from work and planned to enjoy it by relaxing in my apartment where I turned my second bedroom into an art studio and planned to do some art pieces and working on my story. I woke up on Saturday morning quite early and enjoyed the peace and quiet until I got a knock at my door. I have a camera outside of my door facing it just in case something bad happens, and there's an app for it on my phone. I checked and saw that it was my sister's kids. I knew then that she was trying to pull that stupid TikTok trend and got angry. But I kept my word like I told her before and didn't answer the door. More knocks came and my sister tried to call me, and when I didn't answer her, she kept texting me to open the door. I texted her to get her kids and leave, as I told her that I wouldn't look after them and she knew I wanted the weekend to myself. She just kept texting me to open the door. 20 minutes go by, I don't know why she waited that long, and she texted me that she was leaving and for me to open my door to babysit them. I texted her back that if she didn't come back right now, that I'm calling the police. I got no answer from her and called the police. 2 officers came to my house while another 2 tracked down my sister and made her drive to my place. She stomped out of her car, screaming at what a horrible sister I am and why it's no wonder I am single and will die alone. She finally gets her kids back into her car and drives off, the police following after, and I get back to my weekend off. My sister screamed at our family about what I had done, and there have been mixed reviews, saying that I was entitled to have my time off by myself, and others saying that she's a mother and deserves a break every now and then. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Strangely, I don't have an issue with this. Calling the cops was the nuclear option, but you flat out said what you would do. Yes, your sister might want some time off, but there's a thing for that. It's called hire a sitter. Dropping them off, and for all she knew you weren't even home. Totally irresponsible. You're right. Even if you gave in, she'd be pulling this all the time. In this case, I wouldn't say it's a nuclear option. It's a sensible thing to do to ensure the kids' safety if the mother just flat out left them. I agree on the safety of the kids. It's nuclear in that calling the cops on a family member has permanent ramifications, both in that she now has a record if there's another incident. She deserves a record for leaving her kids unattended outside someone's home when she told her she wasn't going to watch the kids. They are her kids and her responsibility, and she's negligent for leaving them there. There should be a record, and she deserved what she got. Not the a-hole. It's not a question of her needing a break. It's a question about dumping her kids on someone who doesn't want to babysit them. I've heard about this thing. And not only is it incredibly rude, but it can also be dangerous if the parents drive off before the door is opened. Anyway, you told your sister you wouldn't babysit them and you'd call the police if she left. Then you didn't babysit them and you called the police when she left. Seems pretty clear to me that she's the a-hole in this. Who leaves their children with someone who has clearly stated they don't like children and they did not want to look after the children? She seriously needs to have a look at herself. What she did is not okay. You are not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to babysit ever, paid or unpaid? I am the youngest of 4 children at 21. My husband and I are wanting to wait around 4 more years to have children, so I'm not child-free, I just don't have any. I have 12 nieces and nephews. My siblings all have a lot of kids. All of my siblings are also single, divorced, or never married. They have always asked me to babysit, and I've always said no. None of them know how to discipline their kids. Their kids will lie, steal, bite each other, etc., and just being around them is hard. My oldest brother has offered to pay me to babysit, but the other two want me to do it for free. I refuse all three. My entire family thinks I'm an a-hole for never babysitting, so I've told them if I wanted to watch kids, I'd have some. My sister wanted to go on a date the other day and no one would watch her 6 kids. I told her, too bad. She said she'll never find a nice man to settle down with if she can't go out. I said she's delusional. It is not my problem. Am I the a-hole for never babysitting under any circumstances? Edit. When I do have children, I absolutely will not ask any of them to babysit. I'd rather pay a professional. My sister wanted to go on a date the other day and no one would watch her 6 kids. I told her too bad. She said she'll never find a nice man to settle down with if she can't go out. I think I see her problem here. You could probably babysit for her every night for the next year, and I doubt she will find a nice man who wants to settle down with her and her 6 kids. Not the a-hole. LMAO. Yeah, she's a mess. My least favorite sibling. Just out of curiosity, how many fathers between those kids? They each have a different father. You're doing those kids a favor every time you don't help your sister procreate again. Their chances in life are already pretty ruined. Have you at all considered adopting any of these children that are likely living in squalor? I've considered taking my sister's oldest. He's 14, almost 15, and is always forced to watch his younger siblings, 1 to 9 years old. But my sister would never let me take her free babysitter, to be honest. Not the a-hole. It sounds like they should all be investing in a good babysitter, nanny, housekeeper, etc. I've taken care of kids in many different capacities, but there's not enough money in the world to have me babysit 6 kids solo. Well, they all complain because none of them can afford childcare, because of how many kids they have. I do feel bad, but I also feel like they made a choice. Yeah, if they can't afford to have kids or can't afford to take care of their kids, then they should stop having kids. Lol, that's not your fault. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not wanting to invite my 9-year-old nephew to my wedding? My fiancé and I both had a discussion and both agreed that we don't want my nephew at our wedding, which will be happening in 2 months. The reason why is because my nephew is out of control. He doesn't listen, can't sit still for even a minute, and is loud. My nephew even ruined my dress. I am a fashion designer and made my own wedding dress. And one day my sister came over and invited with my nephew and niece. I invited them both in, but told them all to not go in my office as I'm working on something in there, which was my dress. My nephew goes in there and cuts my dress with a pair of my fabric scissors on purpose, while I was in the kitchen getting them some snacks and my niece was playing with my daughter. My sister didn't even make him apologize and blamed it on me for leaving my scissor in the open in a room he wasn't even supposed to be in. There have been many times where my nephew been banned from events because of his behavior. My sister has a hard time even getting babysitters for him, and my nephew even gotten suspended from school on multiple occasions. She still hasn't done anything about his behavior. When I told my sister, she freaked out saying that if her son's not allowed to go, then she won't be going. It asked me if I was banning our brother's son as well. She made a Facebook post about how I hate my nephew and I'm not inviting him to my wedding over a dress and complained to our mom. My mom agrees with my sister and says that it's unfair for me to invite my niece, but not my nephew, and that I'm gonna make my nephew feel like there is something wrong with him. My brother agrees with me and thinks it will make my sister think about actually doing something about her son's behavior, rather than pretending like there was nothing wrong. I know how my nephew is, and I don't want his behavior to risk the day I worked so hard in planning. Am I the a-hole here? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I think you should accept your sister's offer to not attend. Okay, thanks. Bye. Not the a-hole. And I would respond to her social media posts explaining his age, behavior, and her complete lack of control and discipline of the child. I wouldn't. Most people see through this type of vitriol and it just comes across as immature. I'd be completely silent and let the sister spew. If people ask in private, explain the situation calmly and with remorse. Not the a-hole. And given that your sister covered for your nephew who is way too old to accidentally use scissors on other people's stuff, then having her boycott and protest is fitting. She can make her choice, raise an undisciplined child or not, but you, hopefully, only get one wedding, and you don't need a wild kid messing it up, nor do you need this drama. I had to go back to the title to read his age, and was surprised he was 9. I could picture a 3 to 5 year old doing that, but at 9? He should have enough self-control. He knew what he was doing and is acting out, not the a-hole. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to stop seeing my daughter over her sister? I, 56 female, and my husband Kurt, 59 male, have 2 daughters. Ruth, 32, and June, 30. 8 years ago, Ruth split up with her college boyfriend Adam, 32. They'd been together since she was 20 or 21, and it was as serious as a college relationship could be. About 5 years ago, June announced that she reconnected with Adam at some alumni get-together. They'd all gone to the same university and that they are now dating. Of course, Kurt and I were shocked that she would do this despite her sister's history with him. But she insisted that they were in love and she can't help that, and that Ruth and Adam hadn't been together in years, so she hasn't done anything wrong. Ruth understandably was enraged over it. She said she was done with June and would never see her again. This broke me. They were so close growing up, and I prayed every day they'd reconcile. But I accepted they're adults who can make their own choices, and it has nothing to do with us. Kurt and I were also very disappointed with June and told her off many times. But after she proved that there was never any cheating involved while Ruth and Adam were together, things between us settled down. Out of respect for Ruth's feelings, we never brought the girls together again. Ruth and June visit us separately and still aren't on speaking terms after 5 years, but we maintained our relationships with them. Now, June and Adam are married. Ruth has also moved on with a lovely boy. Coincidentally, both girls are expecting their first child. Ruth's due date is a little earlier. I can't put into words how excited we are to be grandparents and adore both these children. I've been supportive and is involved with both our daughters' pregnancy as they want. However, last week Ruth drops a bomb on us. She said that if we ever see June again or her baby, she won't allow us in her child's life. I knew it bothered her that we were still on good terms with her sister, but this shattered me. It's kept me awake every night. The thought of either of my grandchildren being deprived of loving grandparents is agonizing. I know Ruth was deeply hurt by June's actions, but I don't know if we should be punished just for not cutting our kid off. We begged her to reconsider, but she's adamant. I don't want to accept Ruth's terms, but it seems like no matter what we decide, we're going to lose a daughter and grandchild. So I'd rather it not happen because we outright chose it. But I also don't want Ruth to believe we'd just drop her in favor of June because again the thought crushes me. Would I be the a-hole if I don't comply with Ruth's ultimatum? Edited to add, thank you to everyone for commiserating with the situation. I wish I could say it's helped me feel better, but right now it feels like nothing ever will. Entirely too many comments to respond to individually, so I just want to answer some of the most common questions here. Why did Ruth and Adam split up? Ruth left Adam because he was immature and said and did things that irritated her, mostly minor things adding up. She said there was never any abuse nor cheating that she knew of. Did we ever support Ruth at first? Ruth stayed with us for a few months when it first happened. Not just because of this, there were other reasons. And we were there for her and comforted her the whole time. Because she was so angry, we had asked June to not visit until she left, though we still talked to her and met a couple of times in public places. We made it known that this hurt her sister and we were disappointed she didn't think of this. June understood and agreed with us supporting Ruth. She expressed sadness over losing her sister, but we clearly told her it was Ruth's decision to cut her off. Whether one thinks June did nothing wrong or not, it's untrue to say there were never any consequences for this. She's sad to this day that she's lost her sister and knows she has to accept and live with it. Did June ever apologize to Ruth? Both girls have confirmed that June reached out a few times over the years to apologize. No one put her up to it. Ruth didn't forgive her and she's well within her rights not to. We understand no one can make her accept the apology. Why didn't we just cut off Adam? He's June's husband and the father of our second grandchild. They're a package deal now. Once we cut him off, we risk losing June and our grandchild anyway, which is the same as what I'm trying to prevent. Some people have said I'm an a-hole for accepting June after this and that I already chose her by not cutting her off from the start. I'm baffled that anyone would suggest I should disown a child forever over this and act like she was never ours. Not disowning June doesn't mean I chose to be her mother over Ruth. Ruth said she was just fine with how we'd arranged things for the last 5 years. As long as she never had to see June, she was happy seeing us and everything was normal between us. It's only now that she's asking us to choose. Some people have said she should have cut us off from the start because we're awful and toxic. She's said many times she doesn't want to cut us off. She loves us and wants to be involved with her child, but she wants us to choose her over June. because June doesn't deserve the same love and care from us. I want to add that if Adam had ever mistreated or cheated on Ruth, we certainly would have gone no contact or at least low contact with them. But that's not what happened, and both girls used to repeatedly tell us that what happened between them had nothing to do with us. Not Daeho. She's just making a final bid for control and using the baby as leverage. What happened to Ruth sucks, but she shouldn't be trying to take out her feelings on you guys, who sound like loving parents. Tell her that you don't like the ultimatum and leave the door open should she change her mind. Kinda weird she's still not over it after 5 years though, especially given the time between both relationships and the fact they're married now. Maybe I'm being naive, having never been in a similar situation, but that just sits weird with me. I wonder what Ruth's partner thinks about it, if she has one. She can be over the ex. That doesn't mean she has to be willing to associate with someone who would betray other people in the way she sees the situation. Not Daeho. Tell Ruth that you will never turn your back on any of your children and that she's making the choice to not be a part of your life. Let her know that your door is always open, and as much as it hurts, continue to send cards, Christmas and birthday presents to your grandchild. She will most likely come around, but if she doesn't, you will know that you kept the lines of communication open while respecting her boundaries. I probably sound crazy, but thinking of this almost breaks my heart most of all. I know a few people who've been denied access to their grandkids who do this. The thought of sending gifts, cards, money, photos, etc. that will end up in some dusty box in an attic somewhere that our grandchild may never see absolutely kills me. They'll never know how much we love them and yearn for them. I'd wonder if Ruth would just throw everything away and there wouldn't even be any proof that we sent them or cared at all. If she asks us to stop sending them, we'd have to comply. But even if we get to shower June's child with love, I can never not think of the fact that we don't do the same for Ruth's.